Thank you all. Very well done. I will start. I'm going to try to keep it to 5 minutes because I think we have a vote at 4:30. This question really goes to everybody. We'll start with Mr. Smart. Do you believe the country would be better off if federal agencies like OSHA issued guidelines, industry-specific, as to what the best business practices are in terms of stopping the spread of the virus and protecting the workforce and public?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great question. I would say from my own experience and my team's own experience that one of the challenges has been, I guess, the varying degrees of information that was there.
So the answer would be yes?
I would say yes.
Mr. Perino.
I hate to correct you, but it's Perone.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman.
It's your name. You have every right to correct me.
I know.
Wrong.
I do think that it would be better if we had specific guidelines that were connected to
Right.
the CDC guidelines, yes, that
Ms.
were enforceable.
Right. Ms. Dixon.
I agree as well. This is going to be the only way that we can protect workers and that they have something to hold employers accountable to, the ones who aren't following the rules.
Okay. To Mr. Tyner.
Thank you. From my perspective, the challenge here is we don't have clear guidelines and rules, so we don't know that the choices we're making are the right
So the
ones that
answer would
protect us
be
from
yes.
liability. Yes.
Should be yes. Okay. Professor Vladeck.
Yes, I agree, and I also think that clear guidelines from federal agencies will provide what's called a regulatory compliance defense if anyone is ever sued over, over a COVID-related incident. Thank you.
Ms. Hill.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we found common ground. So that's the regulatory side. I think what I will do is, pass this up to the food chain, to the administration, that the sooner we can come up with a regulatory, OSHA-driven process to allow big, small, intermediate businesses, essential workers, not just the country in general, the better off we'll be. Now, on the liability side, count me into the idea that we need to give people notice of where the cliff is. There's a bunch of lawsuits already been filed. I'm not trying to replace tort systems, but you can't have it both ways. You can't ask the federal government to give every state in the nation bunches of money to make up for the revenue loss. You can't ask the federal government to come in and supplement unemployment benefits, which I gladly did. You can't ask the federal government to create the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, and say we got no business in the other arena, which is how do you safely open up businesses? How do you protect people from being driven out of business by unnecessary lawsuits? And I guess the goal is to define limited liability protection in time and scope to deal with a COVID-related reopening of the country, and to do so without rewarding bad actors. That's the challenge. Professor Vladeck, I take it you believe that can't be done?
I don't believe it can be done, and I don't think it's wise to do it.
That's fair.
The question really is, what level of protection are we going to provide the public? If you want to reopen the economy, as we all desperately do, you have to give the public assurance.
Right. So me and you are just, that's fine.
Treated by irresponsible entities.
I'm going to ask everybody else the same question. I put you down in no, we shouldn't do that.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Smart, from your point of view, how necessary is this?
I think it's, I do think it's necessary, and that's why I'm here, sir. It's one of the things that I guess
You've done it about as good as anybody could hope to do
sure,
it.
but I
I
haven't
don't
been
think
perfect.
everybody can do what you did, but hats off to you. You're saying, even as much as I've done, if I don't have some certainty on the lawsuit side, I may lose everything I've gained. Do you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay, and what are you asking this committee to do?
I'm asking this committee for a very limited time liability protection for businesses. I'm not looking for bad actors or people that were, even though grossly negligent, but I'm looking for some protection that would limit it exposure during this pandemic.
Mr., say your name again, sir.
Perone.
Perone. I've got
It's-
Perino, I got
it-
Dana
it's really-
Perino on my mind, I think, in terms of names here.
I understand your question.
Well, I want to add it a little bit differently to
Okay.
you because I'm running out of time. Bankruptcy is not a good option for the worker, is it?
Bankruptcy is not a good option.
Okay, so what I want us to do is make sure that we don't go into bankruptcy any more than we have to. And some people are going to go bankrupt just because the demand won't be there. But I'm trying to protect companies from going bankrupt unnecessarily from lawsuits that maybe go too far. Do you believe it's possible to navigate what I just described?
I believe that if you give protections to the workers, solid protections through the regulatory process, it is possible
Fair enough.
if you do the same thing.
I'm with you.
You can't give protections to one and not the other, however.
That actually makes sense to me. Senator Feinstein.